ready to go. And I believe someone's recording the session as well, like the Zoom session internally. So please. Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We are pleased to welcome you to the 7th consecutive International Tourism Leaders Summit 2021. The International Tourism Leaders Summit is organized by the premier state-run academic body, the Tourism Study Programs of the Department of Economics, University of Colombo. In keeping with this motto, wisdom enlightens, the University of Colombo strives to maintain academic excellence in all areas of studies. Being one of the 56 academic departments, the Department of Economics hosts the tourism study programs under the Department of Economics, Faculty of Arts. The premium external course at the University of Colombo has incorporated blended learning with an industry and theoretical component. Master's, postgraduate, and Diploma of Tourism Economics and Hotel Management was approved by the University Grants Commission in 2009 under the Universities Act. And again, the Alumni Association of Tourism Economics and Hospitality Management serves as a forum to exchange ideas to strengthen the professionalism, socially and academically among the members is one of the main objectives. The last successful 6 years of the Tourism Summit and the International Tourism Research Conference paved the way to interesting information sharing about a wide array of interesting topics related to the travel and tourism industry, with strengthening the values, innovation, knowledge, policy, and synergy. Not only information related to the academia were shared, but also many other important aspects were directed towards policymakers, which further created a platform to have an open dialogue about the future of tourism and what needs to be done to improve and secure its full manner. This year, the theme of the International Tourism Leaders Summit is Tourism for Inclusive Growth will be enriched by the representative from various organizations related to the tourism industry, along with the Industry Interactive Policy Dialogue Forum. It's an honor to announce that this year, in parallel to the official celebration of UNWTO World Tourism Day, in strategic partnership with United Nations Development Programme Sri Lanka, and together with key stakeholders of Sri Lanka tourism, the event will transpire. As we move into a new season with the challenges facing us, a nation and as an industry, it is important for us to reflect back onto some accomplishment we have made in the past. The progress we have made from the previous forums presented us with the tools we needed to face the new challenges ahead. We have a short video to showcase the history we have made as a forum for the International Tourism Leaders Summit. Please enjoy. The best thing about memories is making them. Before we move into the main session, let me have the pleasure of inviting our delegates to take the official group photograph of the International Tourism Leaders Summit 2021. May I invite our chief guest, the resident representative from the UNDP, Mr. Robert Jukham, and the guest of honor, Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo, Professor Chandrika and Wijayaratna, special speaker, Director of Innovation and Research, Emirates, Academy of Hospitality Management, Dubai, Professor Sanjay Nadkarni, special speaker, Senior Manager, Planning and Results for the Skills for Inclusive Growth, Ms. Sharanya Ravikumar, and the founding coordinator, Master in Tourism Economics and Hotel Management, University of Colombo, and the Executive Chairman for the International Tourism Leaders Summit and the Tourism Research Conference, Professor Suranga Silva, the President to the Alumni Association of Tourism Economics and Hospitality Management, University of Colombo, the Governing Council, and the respective directors of the International Tourism Leaders Summit to join for the group photograph. Ladies and gentlemen, you will be directed to a breakout room to take the picture. So please join. All the other audience, please bear with us for 5 minutes until the delegates join the main group. Malinta. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us. On behalf of the University of Colombo, we would like to welcome all delegates from the United Nations Development Programme Sri Lanka, distinguished guests and respected speakers, invitees, participants, and we warmly welcome you to our industry partners that supported our entity by offering support even in these tough times. Now, to welcome the gathering officially, I would like to invite a phenomenal and inspirational individual. He is the president of the Alumni Association of Tourism Economics and Hospitality Management, vice president, Alumni Affairs and Management of International Tourism Leaders Summit and International Tourism Research Conference. He is currently holding the position as director and direct disciplinary committee member at the Sri Lanka Rugby and as the president of the Wijayaratna Professionals Forum. He possesses over 34 years of military service, held the most senior logistic appointment in the Sri Lankan Army, Major General of Ordnance and Commander Logistics Command, and as the president of the Western Province Rugby Union. He has engaged in the tourism industry profession during the last 12 years and currently functioning as the direct operation at Asia Leisure Group. Sir, over to you. The President, I think your mic is mute.
Very pleasant morning to every one of you. Our chief guest today, the resident representative of UNDP in Sri Lanka, Mr. Robert Jukham, all other distinguished invitees and participants. During a declining period of spreading of COVID-19 in Sri Lanka, and at the time of our country is on the process of reopening safely, progressively, and sustainably for tourism sector, we were eager to go ahead with the annual Tourism Leaders Summit this year too, on the World Tourism Day itself. I feel that it's our responsibility to convey our gratitude to United Nations World Tourism Organization for initiating and declaring the 27th of September in every year as the World Tourism Day, and encouraging all the member states and affiliated members to foster awareness among the global community of tourism's social, cultural, political, and economic value, and the contribution sector can make in reaching sustainable goals, sustainable development goals. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizing committee of the 7th International Tourism Leaders Summit and the Tourism Leaders Conference, and also as the president of Alumni Association of Tourism, Economics and Hospitality Management, I warmly and respectfully welcome our chief guest today, the resident representative of UNDP, Mr. Robert Jukham. Your Honor, you being the head of UNDP arm in Sri Lanka, which advocate for change and connect countries to knowledge, experience, and resources to help people build a better life. Your active participation is a great encouragement for all the tourism stakeholders here, because UNDP mandate is quite applicable to us. We are delighted to offer the most hospitable welcome to you. Now, I wish to extend a very warm welcome to our guest of honor, Vice Chancellor of University of Colombo, Senior Professor Chandrika Wijayaratna. Madam, your continuous support, encouragement, and patronage for tourism education, tourism development program, and tourism projects are greatly appreciated. We warmly welcome you. Distinguished invitees, it's with great pleasure that I welcome the guest speaker in our summit today, Professor Sanjay Nadkarni, Director of Innovation and Research Study, Academy of Hospitality Management in Dubai, who is going to address us on Dubai. His main interest in the convergence space of analytic, digital, and sustainability in the service sector are very much acceptable for tourism. We warmly welcome you, sir. I'm extremely happy to welcome our other guest speaker, Mrs. Sharanya Ravikumar, Senior Manager for Planning, Inclusion and Results with the Australian Funded Skill for Inclusive Growth Program, who is specialist in the development program design. We warmly welcome you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the very dedicated organizing committee, I wish to offer a gracious welcome to our Guru, the founder and coordinator of Master in Tourism, Economics and Hotel Management, University of Colombo, Professor Suranga Silva. Your guidance and the leadership to conduct this educational and promotional event, Tourism Leaders Summit for 7th consecutive year, is a great landmark. Now, may I very respectfully welcome all the senior academics, including senior lecturers in charge of tourism study courses, visiting lecturers on specialist subjects, and also all staff members of University of Colombo. Just to share with you, all the arrangements related to this event in planning and executing after certain readjustments were done by your own students of the study programs. Your presence here have created a great impact, and all the students join me to welcome you. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are proud to have a large number of senior industry professionals and also major sponsors during the previous year summits. Some of you are investors, some of you are managing directors, and some of you are directors in the respective boards. At a time when we are trying to position ourselves as a top sustainable and innovative tourism destination in the world, our industry partners capitalize the advantages of the abundance of natural resources and the natural landscape that we are inherited with. Our industry partners have taken active steps to move forward for a more sustainable future. I'm sure you will gather more information for your projects, while learning partners will have an opportunity to interact with you in the future. We cordially welcome all valuable and productive industry partners and sponsors. It's my desire to extend a gracious and inclusive welcome to all the directors of Tourism Leaders Summit and Tourism Leaders Conference, including the Secretary General. I also wish to extend a very sincere and honored welcome to all the office bearers and executive committee members of the alumni. Both these groups, directors and the exco members, have been working with a lot of dedication and commitment during the last few weeks to get this going. Many of you wanted to have a physical event, but due to obvious reasons, we had to confine to a virtual meeting with your meaningful participation. We greatly admire your presence. It's with warm feeling that I welcome the students of tourism study programs in University of Colombo and all other individuals who have joined this program on the request or the invitation from your colleagues. I must say that all these participants whom I mentioned just now are a driving force for social inclusion, and some of you may be from the benefiting groups of youth and women, and maybe owners or the employees of small or medium-sized enterprises. I'm sure many of you have participated in previous Leaders Summit too. And the participation at this program and this type of programs and devoting your time will be an investment in the future. And I extend a rousing welcome to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, collectively, I warmly welcome all of you for the 7th Tourism Leaders Summit, which is being held while commemorating World Tourism Day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. As you correctly said, we are so privileged to have everybody on board in this time in the event, and we warmly welcome you as well. Now, may I have the genuine pleasure to invite Professor Suranga Silva to make the opening remarks to this highly recognized industry knowledge forum. He was the, if it is not because of his guidance and direction, we would not be here to witness this magnificent event. He was the former Director General of the Sri Lanka Institute of Tourism and Hotel Management, Ministry of Economic Department, the founder of the Tourism Economics as a subject in Sri Lanka, and the founding scholar in Sri Lanka who developed tourism economics in all study programs. He is the only professor in tourism economics in Sri Lanka so far. Currently, he is in the capacity of the founding coordinator, Master in Tourism Economics and Hotel Management, University of Colombo, and the Secretary General to the Tourism and Hospitality Educators and Researchers Associations of Asia, Director, Center for Economic Research and Industrial Policy Analysis, Acting Director, the Colombo University Community Extension Center. Please warmly welcome our Professor Suranga Silva to do the opening remarks. Dear sir.
A very good morning, honorable reverends and other religious leaders. Chief guest and keynote speaker, Mr. Robert Jukham, President Representative of UNDP Sri Lanka. Guest of honor, Senior Professor Chandrika Wijayaratna, the Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo. The invited panel members and guest speakers, Professor Sanjay, Nadkarni, Director of Innovation and Research, Emirates, Academy of Hospitality Management, Dubai. Ms. Sharanya Ravikumar, Senior Manager, Skip for Inclusive Growth Program. Senior Professor Lasantha Manawadu, Dean of the Faculty of Art, University of Colombo. Senior Professor Sirimal Wijayaratna, the Head, the Department of Economic, University of Colombo. Even though the expected valuable invitees from the Ministry and Sri Lanka Tourism are not able to participate in this event due to the involvement of national event in your province of Sri Lanka, we wish to send our sincere thankfulness and appreciation to Mr. S. Hettiarachi, Secretary of Ministry of Tourism, Mrs. Kremali Fernand, Chairperson of Sri Lanka Tourism, for sending their messages and the best wishes to the 7th International Tourism Leaders Summit. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, valuable participants, the students and alumni members of Tourism Economics and Hospitality Management, media personally, including Event TV and Channel 20. It is indeed a great honor and inspiring privilege for me to deliver the opening remark at this 7th International Tourism Leaders Summit. This year, UNWTO World Tourism Day is celebrated under the theme of Tourism for Inclusive Growth. It is obvious fact that the COVID-19 pandemic has made an unprecedented and devastating disaster to Sri Lanka tourism. It has been created uncompromising and perhaps irreversible massive detrimental socio-economic impact to Sri Lankan economy, despite the impressive performance Sri Lanka tourism during pre-COVID pandemic. Sri Lanka has been the third highest Sri Lanka tourism has been the third highest foreign exchange earner. It has been one of the highest employment generator of our economy. It has been one of the greatest economic stimulator for the development of other sectors of Sri Lankan economy through its strong backward and forward linkages and also direct, indirect and induced impact. In global tourism. This year's theme of UNWTO, Tourism for Inclusive Growth, is also emphasizing all of us to clearly understand and to prudently use the unique ability and strength of the tourism industry for ensuring that nobody is left behind as global tourism begins to grow again and look forward its great future. With the future with the prosperity, the future with the glory, the future with the peacefulness, the future with the togetherness, and future with the well-being and happiness for all. Now we have a great challenge. Our industry must recover fast from the COVID and from the current undesirable situation created from the COVID pandemic. It is no doubt that Sri Lanka tourism is recovering back in near future with a great resilience if we get the fundamental rightly. But the recovery growth of Sri Lanka tourism should not be the same as what we had. It should provide the right meaning of the UNWTO theme of this year, Tourism for Inclusive Growth. The nut that should not forget its skin. Therefore, the recovery growth of Sri Lanka tourism must put a very acute and special attention to the marginalized group of the most vulnerable segment of Sri Lanka tourism. It is fundamentally important and greatly decisive to achieve the sustainable recovery of the industry. The benefit of recovery growth of Sri Lanka tourism should be enjoyed widely and fairly by all segments of tourism industry who are committed for the recovery of Sri Lanka tourism. It should be more focused not only the higher segment of value contributor, but also the marginalized so vulnerable group of Sri Lanka tourism. If we are to provide right direction in achieving sustainable tourism development in Sri Lanka. According to National Policy Framework of Sri Lanka, the stars of prosperity and splendor, if the industry wishes to create the people-centric tourism development, that should be the hitting the nail on the head. Then developing the right policy measures and management strategies towards the tourism for inclusive growth is a must. Finally, as commonly accepted statement, the action speaks louder than words. It has been clearly evident from the global best practices and from the great high flyers in tourism development in the world. The recovery growth of Sri Lanka tourism with the prosperity and the sustainability will be mainly determined through the creative decision making, innovative management, effective marketing, and finally responsible leadership. This can be achieved only through the professional excellence of the industry employees and their analytical decision making power. Therefore, the major objective of organizing Tourism Leaders Summit in year 2021 is to create the right and well-balanced industry policy dialogue to discuss and to prioritize the expected target, goals, and the relevant strategies of the industry, while ensuring the sustainability and fair distribution of dividends and benefit of the recovery growth and the development of Sri Lanka tourism among all contributors of the industry. I am confident that Tourism Leaders Summit will create a significant contribution on this purpose to propel Sri Lanka tourism towards the pinnacle of global tourism in near future. Herewith again, I wish to extend our sincere great gratitude and appreciation to Chief Guest and Keynote Speaker, Mr. Robert Jukham, the Resident Representative of UNDP Sri Lanka. Thank you very much, sir, accepting our invitations. Guest of honor, Senior Professor Chandrika Wijayaratna, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo. Thank you very much, madam. You have been providing so valuable contribution for all the activities, being the Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo. Other valuable speakers, invitees, and the participants. Finally, we wish to see a great success of International Tourism Leaders Summit in this year, 2021. Looking forward to 2022 as a great event after completing this pandemic. Thank you very much and wish you all the best. Have a very fruitful and nice, very fruitful and meaningful day for Sri Lanka tourism.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you very much for your speech, the opening remarks. Moving into the next segment, the guest of honor speech. Our guest of honor for this morning has accomplished many prestigious achievements in her career, paving the way forward for generations to benefit. She assumed her duties as the 18th Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo in 2019. She has served on many international scientific working communities and affiliated organizations as an expert. She was the first endocrinologist in Sri Lanka to be appointed to an academic position and has the distinction of being a pioneer physician in women's health in South Asian region. Now I warmly welcome the Vice Chancellor, University of Colombo, Senior Professor Chandrika and Wijayaratna to deliver the guest of honor speech. Madam.
Thank you. Very good morning and Ayubowan. Can I be seen and heard, please?
Yes, madam. Yes.
Chief guest, Your Excellency, Mr. Robert Jukham, Resident Representative of the UNDP, distinguished officials from the Ministry of Tourism and all the corporate partners, both locally and overseas, deans and directors of universities, guest speakers from Sri Lanka and partnering countries, respected members of the Alumni Association of Tourism Economics and Hospitality Management, head of department and staff of the Department of Economics, University of Colombo, conference chair and mentor for the Suranga de Silva and members of the executive committee and all the postgraduate students and alumni. I bring you my warmest greetings and those from my university, the University of Colombo, and wish you all a happy as happy can be World Tourism Day 2021. I'm deeply humbled and greatly honored to be invited to participate in the 7th consecutive international conference, and this is my 3rd successive year of participation. While thanking you for the invitation to address this august audience on a subject area that is somewhat distant in practice to a simple medic like me, but is nevertheless a subject very close to my heart of human survival and sustenance. Ladies and gentlemen, having experienced the problems faced by the whole of society in terms of the more or less hide and seek game we have engaged with SARS-CoV-2 virus since March of 2020, I have witnessed with humility the resilience and the coping skills of a 35,000 strong population of staff and students of our own university community. We all have had our many lows and a few highs, but I cannot overlook the huge dent borne by the tourism industry in terms of basic survival to zero or negative development and growth. I truly empathize with the entire sector and call on all parties to support them towards a meaningful and safe recovery. In the absence of any overt social protection schemes for the multitude of groups of Sri Lankans who depended almost solely on tourism, as Professor Suranga said, be it domestic or international, the hopes and aspirations of many families fully dependent on the tourism and hospitality trade, those sectors who contributed to society over the past years are far greater in percentage in foreign revenue than agriculture. And they have been completely more or less annihilated and yet to recover. I'm certain that many such families who have not been able to pay off their housing, educational, and other loans, while they have not been afforded a protection akin to the 16,000 or so strong public sector to which I too belong. I make special mention of this to encourage our policymakers and planners to enable alternative revenue planning in parallel with welfare and or insurance schemes for this special sector of the tourist trade, just in case this has been overlooked. Having expressed these sentiments as a citizen of Sri Lanka, I would now like to seek your considered attention on some thoughts expressed as the incumbent academic and administrative lead of the pioneering seat of higher education in Sri Lanka. I congratulate the Department of Economics of our own Faculty of Arts on 2 counts. First, for your very astute commitment to provide a sound educational foundation to the professional fields of tourism and hospitality, despite the near total shutdown of the industry. You have survived, you have coped, and are likely to recover. However, I feel the time is now appropriate to take stock of the entire landscape of tourism and hospitality trade. I'm certain that much of the research projects and leading modules for at least the next 3 to 5 years will need to focus on recovery, regain, and reorganization of the tourism, travel, and hospitality sectors and trade of Sri Lanka and the South Asian region. I wish to highlight that in parallel, our higher educational sector has undergone major transformation, particularly through digitization and a serious relook at the future employability of our own graduates. Learning and working from home and on a distance mode has brought on unparalleled transformation to our institutional practices. From ICT infrastructure development rather than spatial expansion to digital literacy and the institutionalization of such practices as enterprise resource planning for human resource management, alternative career guidance, motivation training and planning, savings on recurrent expenditures such as electricity and water and paper, to substantially less travel and transport costs, being more environmentally friendly with lower carbon dioxide emissions and water conservation, to mention a few. On these lines, I would like to highlight that the educational sector has survived through digital and virtual global connectivity in conducting a sizable number of symposia, conferences, and workshops. It is no doubt not at all like face-to-face, but we have continued. In fact, our centenary celebrations of the faculties of science, arts, and the main library were essentially on a virtual mode and have been so throughout 2021. With even Nobel laureates and high-end speakers addressing our own university on a more frequent note and from all corners of the planet. My question, therefore, to you is, would we ever get back to where we were in 2019 in sectors and fields like travel, learning, and future careers with expectation? Have we effectively addressed these in our academic programs, where the need for food security, equitable access to health and safety that ranges from access to vaccinations to coping with and managing with diseases other than COVID-19, issues of gender and social justice, poverty alleviation, social protection, climate change, and environmental science, to mention a few, are of overriding and paramount importance. Holistically, we need to, Your Excellency and ladies and gentlemen, probably readdress the Sustainable Development Goals from the perspective of knowledge transfer to knowledge creation through research. In fact, I highlighted this aspect in a recent forum of educational leaders at an international level. May I seek the permission of our chief guest to suggest a scholarly relook at the indicators, targets, deliverables, predetermined timelines to address the SDGs. I'm certain that focused discussion to determine related research priorities and their support should be addressed and will be addressed in the near future. Permit me also to suggest that we need to encourage an evidence-based approach to a change in the revision of policy and strategies of tourism and travel by supporting experiential learning through case studies and community-based stakeholder engagement, thereby replanning and readjustment towards an effective and safe tourism sector, hospitality trade and the related sectors such as transport, cottage industry, gems and jewelry, small and medium price enterprises, corporate and financial sectors, to mention a few, would be made more meaningful. Fresh avenues can be explored with a holistic and multidisciplinary approach. Sri Lanka is a high-end location for biodiversity that can be an opportunity towards being a chosen locality to work and learn in the environmental sciences and in agri-entrepreneurship. The University of Colombo would be very happy to support this, as we have world-class academics in these fields with ongoing partnerships with highly rated universities such as Cornell, California, and UCLA, and our learning localities are set in beautiful rural settings. Thereby, the industry and corporate partners can be wooed for on-site educational tourism that would be aligned with the newly started nomad visas, as I understand. The creative and cultural aspects of the performing arts, music, television and theatre drama, along with indigenous knowledge-based scholarships, are also worth exploring. We have the beautiful Sri Pali campus in Horana with a strong historical link to Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore that celebrated 90 years recently, and the Institute of Indigenous Medicine, soon to become a faculty that extols the virtues of Ayurveda tourism. Our 150-year-old medical faculty can engage in medical tourism to shorten the long waiting lists of surgical procedures such as joint replacement, cataract surgery, and even living donor solid organ transplantation. We are in the process of establishing a unique engineering faculty with plans for integrated circuits and highly skilled human capital development that opens up opportunities to explore university-industry partnership that would engage the tourism and travel trade. Digitization and artificial intelligence has also been taken note of. Online bookings, payments, e-commerce may require specific training and technical support for small and medium-term businesses. In parallel, cybersecurity and training in netiquette and guidelines on social media behavior are essential with an appropriate legal framework instituted. Your quest should not culminate in developing mere study programs, but pave the way to partner with novel stakeholders. I see the need to address resilience and reorganize deliberations amongst teachers, researchers, and leaders in the fields of tourism and hospitality in order to add value and evidence-based scholarship to these fields. This portrays your visionary planning and networking globally and regionally with a purpose to give life and lift to a major player in every one of our country's economic development and sustenance. My salutations to the multitude of your group who have given so much to our nation, and I wish you all the strength to carry on and help your industry recover. Thank you, and I wish you happy deliberations.
Diversify UNDP's strategic partnerships. Before his tenure at the UNDP headquarters in New York, Mr. Jukham served in the Asia-Pacific region for over 10 years as the Deputy Country Director for UNDP Bangladesh from 2008 to 2014, the team leader of Knowledge and Policy Services at the Regional Center of Bangkok, serving UNDP Asia-Pacific 25 country offices from 2004 to 2008. And previously as the Deputy Chief of the UNDP Bangkok Sub-Regional Resource Facility, which is known as SIR, from 2003 to 2004 as well. His career in UNDP began in Estonia as a Deputy Representative and Program Advisor which was from 1997 to 2000. Following 3 years in government services as the Foreign Aid Management Advisor for the Estonian Minister of Culture and Education from 1993 to 1997. He also served as the District Electoral Supervisor and Civic Education Specialist for the UN from 1992 to 1993 in UN Peacekeeping Mission in Cambodia. With close to 30 years of experience in international development, Mr. Jukham has been instrumental in shaping policy and programming for advocacy and strategic partnership, particularly in Asia and Europe. A national of Estonia, Ms. Jukham, who is married and father of 3, holds an interdisciplinary diploma in social science from Stockholm University and a Bachelor of Arts Political Science from the University of California, Santa Barbara, USA. So it's my honor to invite you to address the forum today as the Honorable Chief Guest. Sir?
Thank you, respected moderator. I hope you can hear me. I'm audible and you can see me.
Yes, sir.
Very good. So greetings, Ayabawan, Wanakam, Assalamu alaikum. Good morning to everyone online. In the background, this is a photo I myself took from Bidurangala, looking at marvelous Sigiriya. And here I'm with my tourist attire today. I'm very pleased and indeed thank the organizers for the opportunity for me and UNDP to be with you and speak at this World Tourism Day celebration. I really hope my connection and technology holds. It dropped once, but fingers crossed, and let's go ahead. Let me first begin by recognizing and expressing my sincere appreciation to Professor Suranga Silva of the University of Colombo, one of, if not the leading academic on tourism in Sri Lanka and abroad. Vice Chancellor, the other esteemed panelists, to the organizers from the Alumni Association of Tourism, Economics and Hospitality Management, dear students of the Tourism Study Program of the Department of Economics, all participants from our partner organizations in the private sector and government, in civil society, and in academia. It's really exciting to speak to you all on this occasion, celebrating World Tourism Day in 2021, and doubly interesting to do so in conjunction with your 7th consecutive International Tourism Leaders Summit and Tourism Research Conference. And a word of congratulations here to the organizing committee for their dedication to bring together all participants, even though it's in a Zoom space, mainly amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, but keeping the traditions alive and keeping important events such as these of the University of Colombo going. So today, what I hope to do is drawing a bit on UNDP's global and experiences here in Sri Lanka. I'll touch on 4 points. I hope these remarks will offer some food for thought, for further deliberation on, and basically how the broader sphere of academia and industry, the stakeholders there, can apply best practices in sustainable tourism development in an inclusive manner. So let me begin by first taking on maybe the most basic point of departure that we all seem to know in one way or another. Tourism will never be the same after COVID-19. As borders closed, travel restrictions came into place, the World Tourism Organization reported an 84% decline in international tourist arrivals for the first quarter of 2021. Pointing, in this case, to Northeast, Southeast Asia, Oceania, North Africa, and South Asia as being especially affected. And how has Sri Lanka been impacted? Well, in late 2019, early 2020, in early 2019, then following that, in mid 2019, I should say, in early 2020, Sri Lanka's tourism industry was showing signs of recovery following the tragic Easter Sunday attacks in April 2019. Yet just a half year later, almost a full year later, COVID-19 called for containment measures that brought tourism to really a shocking standstill once more. However, this time for a much longer time, and we're witnessing it now as we sit and speak. As of August 2021, my statistics are that just under 25,000 tourists had visited Sri Lanka. This represents a 95% decline compared to the more than 500,000 tourists who were on the island from January to March in 2020, which was part of that recovery period, not even getting up to the higher levels earlier. And what did this impact mean for people depending on tourism? Well, first of all, we should recognize that the impact of COVID-19 on tourism threatens the very goals, development goals we have had in place since 2015, when member states of the world adopted Agenda 2030 and adopted the more specific Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. COVID-19 socioeconomic impacts threaten to increase poverty, which is SDG 1, increase inequality, SDG 16, and potentially reverse, on the other hand, natural and cultural conservation efforts, improve them, I should say. The threats are actually already a reality. And tourism has increasingly become a vehicle for empowering and contributing to increased levels of income and gender equality amongst a much larger portion of the population, more than before in the earlier eras of high-end hotels with only the richest of tourists visiting countries around the world. These gains in inclusivity of people to getting the benefits that the tourism financial inflows and the cultural exchange bring are really notable. And cultural exchange, because yes, people also grow in human development terms through exposure to others in the world, new knowledge, new experiences, new jokes, new laughter. All of this is now at risk, along with the contributions to the achievement of SDG targets. Now, on the other hand, tourism the sector has had always a significant climate environmental footprint. The more it grows, the more it does so, requiring heavy energy and fuel consumption, which puts a strain on the planet and natural resources. So what can the world and what can Sri Lanka learn from this? COVID-19 has showcased how the relentless pressures we place on nature, the planet, and biodiversity is increasingly becoming detrimental for our coexistence. And it also showed us that tourism is a contributor to those detrimental impacts. The National Tourism Roadmap was developed in mid-2019 with support of UNDP in Sri Lanka, a temporary kind of roadmap of revival based on a rapid COVID-19 impact assessment to the tourism sector. And it identified in the months following the March lockdown that while a majority of formal jobs were protected in some way or another, employees receiving reduced salaries, for example, but daily wage earners and informal workers being severely affected. Specifically, the auxiliary industries supporting the tourism sector, such as laundry and cleaning sectors, just one example, had limited relief measures accessible to workers in the informal sector, with women in the sector being disproportionately affected. Of course, tuk drivers and small shop owners in tourist areas have suffered greatly. And this has only continued as wave after wave of COVID variants has stalled, hints of recovery. And of course, this revival roadmap, a first step, highlighted the need for improved risk preparedness measures. But again, in all of this, actually speaking on the the environmental and biodiversity conservation side, there is a silver lining. This visible experience by humans being locked down in places raised greatly internationally across countries at all streams of society on the urgency to protect the planet and the environment and the climate and biodiversity. And this in turn has renewed the discussion on sustainable tourism development, a paradigm shift that Sri Lanka could leverage, has been leveraging, and can do more to emphasize. My second point is about taking that knowledge about sustainability and impacts on the more marginalized and doing something big. Now is the time to leapfrog towards transformation. We know that tourism is no longer viewed as a standalone sector. The repeated shocks have proven that it is an engine of employment, economic growth, sustainability, and boosts other sectors such as hospitality, agriculture, livelihoods, transport, and many more. Investing in tourism revival is considered one of the fastest means to kickstart other economic sectors affected by the pandemic. And in order to build resilience, sustainability is a formidable force to reckon with and use. Sustainability was ranked amongst the top 7 tourism trends for 2020, with more and more travelers demanding eco-friendly options, traveling to often lesser known destinations and being closer to communities. So rebuilding tourism is an opportunity for transformation. It allows for leveraging its impacts on destinations and building stronger communities and businesses through many means, including innovation, digitalization, and partnerships. As a rebound in tourism is expected for the latter part of this year, fingers crossed again, the UN World Tourism Organization panel of experts foresee, and I'd like to quote here, they say, increasing demand for open air and nature-based tourism activities, domestic tourism, and slow travel experiences which focus on sustainability and greater connection between tourists and local people, cultures, food, and music will basically be on the rise. Regenerative travel, or basically what that means is travel focused on actively impacting social environmental conditions of the host country, is also gaining momentum. So this means targeted action and investment to shift towards green tourism and green development as a whole, with high emitting sectors, including air, sea, and transport and hospitality, moving towards carbon neutrality as well. How many of you know that Sri Lanka is actually ranked 5th in the world amongst kite surfers? For those of you who know what kite surfing is, you have a little board and you have basically a parachute that pulls the wind and pulls you across the water. Well, Kalpitia is ranked 5th in the world. You go online and search for it. Red Bull, many of the tourist sites rank it there, and people come from all over, and they come to see this natural environment of Kalpitia. They come to experience eco-friendly behaviors. They're just using the wind, and they want to consume as little of the environment as possible. The wind is a good thing. So basically rethinking and understanding the ways in which the sector impacts our natural resources and ecosystems, and building on existing work on sustainable tourism, we can ensure fair distribution of benefits and build forward better. And research on and applying best practices, global best practices as well, is a pertinent step towards rethinking this process. Bringing me to my third point, I want to just touch briefly on a couple of best practices from the Asia region, from Thailand and Bhutan. So as Sri Lanka moves towards sustainable tourism more and more, these other practices can be guidelines. And let me just begin with Thailand. Koh Tao is an island in the Gulf of Thailand. And it's visited, or it has been in the past, by approximately 500,000 tourists every year. It's a small island, much smaller than Sri Lanka, and regarded widely as one of the best diving destinations in the world for scuba divers and snorkelers. But this tourism activity has generated huge amounts of waste, and this threatens, of course, the marine environment, puts pressure on coral reefs, which are a key source of revenue. So it's a vicious cycle. And although there have been rules and regulations in place to curb the degradation of coral reefs, they have not been effective. And so the public, private, and local NGO spheres have joined forces to restore the reefs. The challenge being for them that the budget for finance conservation and improving solid waste management, for example, is quite limited. So to address this financial gap, the Biodiversity Finance Initiative called BioFin of UNDP Thailand supported the municipality of Koh Tao. And this initiative aims to develop a financial mechanism called an environmental management charge. And this charge on tourists amounts to just 100 baht, which is, I think, maybe less than $3 US, as an entry fee to the island to protect and restore the coral reefs and the natural environment. And BioFin is collaborating with the state-owned Krung Thai Bank and Rox Thai Foundation to initiate a crowdfunding campaign to mobilize resources to support 200 of the registered tourist boat riders affected by the absence of tourists. And proceeds for this campaign are looking to finance a cash for work program for these boat drivers to collect marine debris, clean the beaches, and provide some supplemental income while maintaining the reason people go there, which is the beautiful natural assets. And this supports inclusivity of all populations to the benefits of tourism growth. Tourism is the second largest revenue contributor to Bhutan, and I'll be very brief on this. You know, although nature-based tourism is one of the two main motivations for tourists to visit Bhutan, surprisingly, ecotourism remains underdeveloped. Revenue generation from tourism in protected areas has been very low. And so this has shown that there's a lack of system and absence of mechanisms to provide sustainable sources of financing for maintenance and investments. And the government, recognizing this, has worked with UNDP's BioFin initiative again to support the government to develop an investment plan to identify the suite of tourism products and services, a system of fees and charges, and modalities for private sector engagement, which is the key partner to national authorities to make tourism work. So my last main point, which is really what do such global best practices, regional best practices mean for Sri Lanka? What can they mean? Well, one, they point to a need to a shift towards new development paradigms, which rekindles the relationship with nature and our planet. Leaders of Sri Lanka can re-emphasize a green-centric development approach, a green economy, which is defined as a low carbon, resource efficient, socially inclusive arrangement as much as possible. In the green economy theory, growth and employment and income are driven by public and private investment into economic activities, infrastructure, and assets that actually allow or promote reduced carbon emissions and pollution, which enhance energy and resource efficiency, and which prevent the loss of biodiversity and ecosystem services. So jobs, economy, environmental conservation, and social harmony, this is kind of a triple win. So this yet again provides an interesting opportunity for you, the academics online here, to delve deeper into the case for green-centric development to inform the policy discourse of the country. And your academic areas in the tourism study program, amongst others, can play a critical role in shaping that policy space with this kind of thinking in mind. So I encourage that greatly. Two, I mean, the experiences point to the need for strong public-private partnerships and multi-stakeholder approaches, which also include individuals, for inclusive tourism growth, boosting competitiveness, building resilience to support the tourism infrastructure and services across the whole value chain is a private public partnership priority area, in fact. And facilitating investments, building a conducive business environment for local, small, micro, small, and medium sized enterprises, diversifying products and markets, promoting domestic regional tourism where possible. These are all wonderful, and the dependence on tourism sector makes this for a very significant sector. So do individuals working informally who require income and protections, as the Vice Chancellor was just speaking to, especially at difficult times like this. And with the majority not having access to formal financial organizations or other business development services, working together with Citibank, UNDP is supporting women entrepreneurs to thrive and overcome their financial obstacles. But more business development assistance is required, and it can be done if we do it the right way. Say yes to innovative and green financing for development. Both the global case studies provide examples of financial mechanisms supporting symbiotic arrangements between tourism, communities, and natural resources. Currently in Sri Lanka, ticketing systems are arbitrary. They don't necessarily reflect the maintenance cost or the protection of natural assets. While biodiversity-related destinations are high in demand, the country requires appropriate measures to prevent over-visitation or degradation of ecosystems. And so maybe a possible measure might be the development of a standard fee. But this is not all. At the national level, we're speaking with the Ministry of Finance and the Central Bank of green financing mechanisms such as bonds to help raise impact investors' interest in Sri Lanka and in sustainable tourism. So UNDP has worked closely with the Ministry of Tourism, SLTD, and the provincial councils. We're currently providing technical assistance with the National Tourism Policy for Sri Lanka, which is under development. The multi-stakeholder consultations are still ongoing with tourism associations and the private sector, and the effort is really to create a holistic, inclusive national tourism policy. And with BioFin here as well, in collaboration with SLTDA, UNDP in Sri Lanka has also provided financial and technical assistance to complete the Sustainable Tourism Certification Program. Basically, that accommodation sector, that those accommodation providers who are sustainable in their actions and their systems, that they are certified. And we're also moving in support of making destinations sustainably certified as well for 9 destinations across the 9 provinces in the island. The background here being one of them. The scheme looks to basically manage existing tourism destinations by reinvesting in conservation of natural resources, ensuring that tourism will be for the people on the planet and leave no one behind. And just to note also that UNDP with the Ministry of Environment, together with other co-conveners, organizing the Colombo Development Dialogues on Green Development, starting from mid-October, and we'll have a whole of society conversation, in fact, on the core themes of green development. And so we look forward to doing that. So in closing, with COVID on the doorstep, as it's been, and still even coming in the door, unfortunately, Sri Lanka is possibly at the most important juncture of its developmental pathway since tourism became a thing in Sri Lanka. With less than 10 years to reach the vision of the Sustainable Development Goals, this is the right time to have this conversation on sustainable tourism development. A do-it-alone approach may not succeed, or it may succeed temporarily delaying some impacts of the crisis, but it would not succeed in addressing root causes. Academics such as yourselves could take the lead in looking for new ways to drive collaborative innovation that delivers on smart interventions that have maximal impact with minimal effort, especially given the constrained fiscal space in Sri Lanka. And in line with this year's theme of tourism for inclusive growth, I encourage you to delve deep into localization of global practices, green-centric tourism development, the new ways of organizing ourselves, promoting multi-stakeholder partnerships and collaborations, and green financing for sustainable tourism development. The research interventions of academia really have the ability to inform us, the development partners, and the government of Sri Lanka to direct our focus towards solutions to address very pertinent issues with a strong base of evidence-based policymaking. Really, this is like applied policy. You contribute to the applied policy efforts of the country. UNDP Sri Lanka stands committed to continue our long-standing support to the country, to the government of Sri Lanka, with all stakeholders broadly, but especially within this sector, supporting the creation of a highly successful, sustainable tourism development trajectory. Thank you. My sincere thanks to the University of Colombo and the organizing committee for inviting me to this fantastic event. And I wish you the best today as we celebrate the hope of tourism for Sri Lanka, and as we celebrate you and all your future endeavors, which I hope will be successful. All the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. We are so privileged to have you today representing the UNDP, as the United Nations Development Program in Sri Lanka plays a major role when it comes to contribution to the country. And I believe the global best practices points that you made today will reshape the Sri Lankan tourism as well. Your Excellency, thank you very much. Since we announced that this year's International Tourism Leaders Summit will take place along with the World Tourism Day celebrations as usual, we received best wishes, blessings, and messages from significant individuals and organizations from all around the world. Unfortunately, with some time limitations, we will not be able to share all the messages, but it is my pleasure to share some of them in this forum next.
Everyone, ladies and gentlemen, the UNWTO World Tourism Day is celebrated on 27th September in each year by every nation to raising the awareness of great contribution of tourism industry on socio-economic and sustainable development in the world. It has been able to generate 10% of global income and 11% of global employment as well. Similarly, the current COVID pandemic has significantly hindered the possible contribution of tourism industry in socio-economic development of Sri Lanka tourism. It made a huge cost of loss of nearly 450,000 direct and indirect jobs and nearly 2 to 3 million affected family members, a loss of nearly $4 billion foreign exchange earning, and a significant loss of government revenue, making a great pressure to the fiscal and monetary policy. At this pandemic, it is worthwhile to explore and to capitalize the emerging opportunities coming out from the pandemic to develop Sri Lanka tourism. Emerging new trends and patterns in global tourism under the new normal of post-COVID scenario can be dominant until successful vaccination is completed all over the world. Application of sustainable tourism practices in line with the global goals with Agenda 2030 must be one of the most instrumental approach to recovery and resilience building of Sri Lanka tourism. At present, National Policy Framework of Sri Lanka, Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor, has kept a great expectation of people-centered tourism development and its great contribution for Sri Lankan economy, along with intention of increasing annual tourism arrival to 7 million while adding foreign exchange inflow of $10 billion to the economy. Key economic policy measures and outcomes-driven strategies are decisive and instrumental for making Sri Lanka tourism a more resilient and sustainable industry. Whatever economic policy measures and strategies are implemented, they must ensure the sustainability of the industry. Providing of proper awareness and right policy direction in this context is fundamental requirement. On this purpose, it is no doubt that the International Tourism Leaders Summit has made a significant evidence-based knowledge contribution and create a highly interactive industry policy dialogue forum for the policy and decision makers and the other key stakeholders of the industry under leadership provided by the Alumni Association of Tourism, Economics and Hospital Management and the Tourism Study Programs, Department of Economics, University of Colombo, as the premier national university of Sri Lanka. Herewith, I would like to congratulate the organizers for making this important annual event in Sri Lanka tourism for its consecutive 7th year. I wish your International Tourism Leaders Summit great success. Thank you.
Meet the locals and see Sri Lanka through their eyes. Feel the sand beneath your feet and float in the warm Indian Ocean. See ancient wonders from new heights or explore them from the ground. Kick back and end your day with a relaxing dip in the pool. So wild, so majestic, so Sri Lanka.
Thank you. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all the individuals representing various organizations for encouraging us this year on behalf of Professor Suranga and the University of Colombo. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving into the technical session. For that, I would like to invite an individual with 18 years managerial experience. So I would like to invite an individual with 18 years managerial experience experience in Sri Lanka and Maldives in the fields of public and conference diplomacy and world affairs, government and academia. Member to the Alumni Association of Tourism, Economics and Hospitality Management and Innovation for International Tourism Leaders Summit and the International Tourism Research Conference. He is also a profound alumni member and the founding Secretary General of the Alumni Association of Tourism, Economics and Hospitality Management. Currently serving as the Industry Engagement Manager and Senior Lecturer for William Anglis Institute at SLIT, as well-known educator while connecting the academia and the industry. We invite Mr. Kasun Abenayaka to begin the moderation for the esteemed panel of the 7th International Tourism Leaders Summit 2021. Mr. Kasun. Mr. Kasun Abenayaka, over to you. Please bear with us for the technical delay. Mr. Kasun will join as soon as possible.
Right. Thank you, Madhushan. There was a small Thank you, Madhushan. There was a small technical error from my end. Good morning, all of you. Happy World Tourism Day 2021. This time, Tourism for Inclusive Growth. This session, we are going to talk about two main segments. One is all about the technology aspect, how we can use technology into the inclusive tourism, and also the skills sector. I have two eminent personalities, Professor Sanjay Nadkarni. He is the Director Innovations Research at Emirates Academy of Hospitality Management in Dubai. And he's going to talk about digital innovation and sustainability trends in post-COVID tourism for inclusive growth. And we have Ms. Sharanya Ravikumar, a Senior Manager for Planning, Inclusion, and Results with Skills for Growth. So moving on to the Dr. Sanjay Nadkarni, his interests are mainly in space analytics, digital sustainability in the service sector. And his portfolio comprises applied research and advisory and consultancy assignments for corporates, government, and multilateral agencies. I think we should not talk more about it. And let's hear from Professor Nadkarni about this digital innovation for our inclusive for tourism. Professor, are you with me? Professor Nadkarni, are you with me?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Ayubaman.
Good morning, Ayubaman.
I'm just unable to turn on my video. I think the organizers have to allow me to do that. So we'll wait till that. Till then, you'll have to bear up with my voice.
Excuse me, Professor. You have made your co-host. You are able to turn on your video now,
No, okay. Now I've been able to turn on my video. Are you able to see me and hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Professor, you can.
Loud and
Okay,
clear.
brilliant. Okay, great. Okay, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and a happy World Tourism Day. It could have been much happier if I would have been able to travel to Colombo as I've been doing over the last 6 years, say for the 2020 and 2021 because of COVID. But again, it's a delight to know that despite all these difficult circumstances, you have kept up the spirit of continuing with the International Tourism Leaders Summit and the Tourism Research Conference. So hats off to the entire University of Colombo team, Professor Suranga, Kasun Abenayaka, Mr. Wijayaratna, and the entire crew of University of Colombo. Hearty congratulations. It's a delight, as usual, for me to address this very august forum.
digital innovation and sustainability go pretty much hand in hand, and particularly so in this post-COVID scenario. So what I'll do is, I usually don't like to impose death by PowerPoint, but just in the interest of keeping the discussion a bit focused, I will run through some slides, and basically we will have some time for Q&A, hopefully, assuming this is a panel discussion. So we will look at that. So I'll share my screen in a second, and just let me know if you all are able to view it. Just give me a sec till I pull up my screen. It's usually the challenges of an online conference or an online meeting is fiddling with all these elements to make technology work. And okay, here we go. Should be able to see my screen in a second. Are you able to see my screen, folks? Should be coming up.
Yes, Professor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bravo. Okay. So let me just fire up the PowerPoint. Okay. So there we go. And what I'll be walking you all through is essentially the COVID-19 industry 4.0 and the service industry, the intersection of these three elements. So obviously, this is our survival tool now. We will talk a bit more about Industry 4.0, what it means, what are the implications. It's all related to technology and innovation. And obviously, we are here in the service industry celebrating the World Tourism Day under the shadow of COVID. So in terms of the agenda, let's start with what is digital transformation, because that's been a buzzword even before COVID, except that now post-COVID, it's taken a more sort of a significant role. We will then look at the data story, because as the previous speaker, Mr. Robert Jukham, mentioned, innovation, technology, all this is fueled by data. So we'll look at the data story, understand what's Industry 4.0, and then touch a bit upon sustainability, because that's the core theme. And as a result of which, what happens when it comes to upskilling the future generation of tourism industry stakeholders. So here's some of the headlines that I've picked up before COVID. It's all about, digital transformation, winning customer loyalty, risk, globalization, over-tourism, which was also referred to from a sustainability perspective, low-cost carriers, driving volume mass tourism, eruption of the sharing economy, starting with Airbnb and the types that have now scaled up. So from all these perspectives, you can glean that this was a pretty much gung-ho sector before COVID hit. And that's what we call a black swan event. Yeah, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar, but it's pretty interesting. This concept of the black swan event was first suggested by Nassim Taleb in 2001 in a book called Fooled by Randomness. It's worth taking a look at that book. It's there's no statistical, it's not heavy in terms of statistical analysis. In fact, it's nicely kind of worded for the layman to understand how statistical randomness can play a role. So essentially, it's what is a black swan event? It is an unpredictable event that is beyond what is normally expected of a situation and has profound consequences like what we are facing now in this pandemic situation. Yeah. So before COVID, yeah, our industry in particular has had a rather complacent attitude when it comes to adopting technology. Unlike other service sectors like banking, telecom, our industry has been a bit of a laggard. But now with COVID, things have changed a bit, because suddenly we moved from that mindset, okay, something has to change. More of same will not do. The expectations of the consumers have also changed. And therefore, the question now is our industry's attitude also changing? This is something that we need to bear in mind. There are many definitions or perspectives on digital transformation, but just to put things into perspective, I thought this is the one I like the most because it pretty much encompasses the essence of what a digital transformation should be. So we will kind of, within this framework, understand what the digital transformation pillars are. Okay. So some of us are already familiar with social media, cloud computing. This is something, this could be buzzwords for some, but this is pretty much mainstream now. Big data, there's so much. Previously, we used to sort of be short of data. Right now, in fact, we live in an age where there's too much data. So how do we address this problem of data glut? Internet of Things, these are sensors. So for instance, in the post-COVID situation, where people are reluctant to touch surfaces, yeah, Internet of Things or sensors help touchless or contactless transactions. So for instance, I wave my hand and the door opens or the curtain opens, right? This is pretty much commonly deployed in many places. So you're aware when you walk in, the sensors will detect motion and then turn on the light. But then if you expand it to energy conservation, water conservation, this has huge potential. It's already been sort of verified in other industries. Unfortunately, our industry has been a bit of a laggard in the uptake of IoT. Because now everything has had to move online because of COVID, like even this conference, which otherwise, we would be having the Bandaranaike Convention Center every year, is now happening online. Cybersecurity has become a big issue. Yeah, and this makes a huge difference because data is an asset which can be also misused to gain undue advantage of our criminal activities. And then we come to mobility. Today, our mobile phones are way more powerful than the computers that put the first man on the moon. Yeah. So essentially, these are the pillars of the core pillars of digital transformation. Now, let's see from our industry's perspective where these touch points are used. So what you see in this slide is the travel and tourism industry's digital touch points. I don't know how visible this screen is, but typically you have biometrics, blockchain, cybersecurity, AI, voice recognition, AR, VR, Wi-Fi connectivity, all these playing an important role in transforming our industry. What you need to understand is the drivers for all of these happens to be data. So this is now considered to be the world's most precious resource, not oil, but data. In fact, The Economist ran a cover page story a few years ago that data is the world's most valuable resource. Yeah, even when it comes to cyber warfare, it's all about, who has access to whose data and what you do with those data. So this is something pretty critical, and we need to keep track of how our industry is leveraging the data available to it for the betterment of the environment and, of course, for developing the industry. I don't know how many of you are aware, for instance, the world's largest media company is Facebook, but the interesting part is they don't own any content. The world's largest software vendor happens to be Google because of the app, the Google Play Store, and they don't even develop most of the apps. All these apps are developed by third parties. The world's largest movie house happens to be Netflix. You know what? They don't own any movie theater. World's largest hotel provider, that's Airbnb. And guess what? They don't own any hotel properties. So what is common in all these companies? They are all data companies. They are data first. So it's data that's fueled them to become global giants, right? Today, for instance, Airbnb's valuation is way more than Marriott or any of the large hotel chains. Yeah. So this is something for us to kind of bear in mind, that how data has massively changed the socioeconomic landscape globally. So let's now come to this buzzword Industry 4.0. Here's the evolution of how the industrial revolutions have taken place since the invention of the steam engine, starting with the mechanization and steam power about 150 years ago. Then we had mass production assembly lines, what's exemplified in, let's say, what Ford did with the car industry. Then comes Industry 3.0 in the post-Second World War stage, where you have automation, computers, electronics. So the era from the 80s until 90s, early 2000s, right? And today we live in the age of Industry 4.0, where we have cyber physical systems, Internet of Things, networks. So basically it's machine to machine discussion, yeah? Essentially it's autonomous. So this is something that is now pretty much taking shape. What impact does it have on our industry? Does it mean loss of jobs? Does it mean creation of jobs? Because a lot of processes are being automated, and to what extent our industry will either benefit or suffer from automation. This is something that we have to keep in mind. So the drivers are AI, blockchain, robotics, mixed reality. We often talk about mass tourism and how it's impacted destinations. Yeah, even Mr. Jukham alluded to a carrying capacity at destinations and over tourism. So this is a big problem. So we are now at a stage where technology has reached a point where virtual reality is not just about the audiovisual elements, but it's also about olfactory. That means smell, tactile, touch, and vestibular motion. So essentially, if I want to make a trip to the Antarctica to be with the penguins, I don't really need to travel there in person to experience the cold and touching the penguins, because with VR equipped with all these sensory sensors for smell, touch, motion, and of course audiovisual, my brain can be tricked into believing that I'm actually in Antarctica, I'm shivering because of the cold, and I'm touching the penguins through tactile touch. Yeah. So these technologies, even though they're not yet being mainstreamed, are already in the process of development. So now here's the question: would you prefer the real experience, adding to the carbon footprint and pollution, or would you prefer a more virtual experience because that will help in terms of saving the environment? Okay. Obviously, from a destinations perspective, it raises a question mark, because if people choose to sit in the comfort of their homes using all these technologies and not really going to visit the destinations, what about the jobs that people depend on for servicing the tourists? Okay, so this is a kind of tricky question. It kind of brings into consideration the ethics of it all, the economics, the socio-economic dynamics of it all has to be also taken into consideration. So here are some examples of how AI, artificial intelligence, is being used in our industry for recommendation engines, revenue management, enhancing customer experience, and optimizing demand forecasting. Okay, so this is all at the back end. So tourists don't necessarily feel or kind of necessarily interface with the back end, because they are only at the front end of it all. So I'm not going to read through all that. I'll just give you a couple of examples in terms of some of the other developments. We spoke about robotics, yeah, no touch. So we have Starwood that has already deployed AI robot butlers, because now in the post-COVID scenario, people want touchless. Okay, I don't want human touch. I'd rather have a machine deliver. So our industry is meant to be high touch. So if that touch is now becoming touchless because of technology, are we willing to accept it? Yeah. There's a hotel in Japan. It's called Hena, a hotel it's in Nagasaki. It's run entirely by robots. Yeah. Another development is the unmanned hotel by, it's called Flyzoo. It's by Alibaba. It's opened in Hangzhou, completely touchless. So these are, at this stage, these are concept hotels, entirely run purely with technology. it's a novelty value, but will these become mainstream? And if these do become mainstream, what are the implications in terms of employment opportunities? But more importantly, let's come to the question of sustainability, because at the end of the day, we are looking at what is the triple bottom line framework: people, planet, and profit. So there has to be a proper balance between these three in order to achieve sustainability. One cannot come at the cost of the other. All along, we are focused on profits and neglected both planet and people, right? The time has come now. COVID has given us a kind of a wake-up call where we need to kind of rebalance our portfolio and not just chase monetary profits, but look at investing in planet and people as well. So that's why when we talk about sustainability, it's not just the environmental component, but also the social component touching on people and the economic component touching on profit. So it has to be a kind of an optimal mix, if you will, of all these three components. And government policy needs to actually mandate that in terms of the balance sheets that companies report, there has to be a triple bottom line balance sheet rather than just financial balance sheet. If this happens, it will go a long way in mitigating the social and environmental problems which are associated with our industry. And what COVID has done is it's actually changed people's behavior, okay, in terms of people wanting to now sort of be a bit more cautious in terms of, going to crowded places or high touch environments. Also, people have become environmentally conscious. You see how many environmental disasters we've had in the last few years. So all this is a good opportunity for our industry to start innovating. And the technologies that we spoke about a while ago can play an active role in driving this sort of innovation. So it's time to say goodbye to all those legacy systems that have dominated for the last few decades and start afresh with fresh innovative ideas that startups have come up with. I mentored a few startups here, and it's just amazing to see how out-of-the-box solutions that they've created are actually helping the industry. So when it comes to the innovation adoption curve, either at a destination level or from at a company level, question is, ask yourselves, where do you fit in? Are you leading on the innovation side, or are you a laggard, right? So I think as I said, I've been visiting your beautiful country all these years, except for the last 2 years because of COVID, of course, ever since the Tourism Leaders Forum started. And I can tell you that Sri Lanka is very uniquely placed in leading the innovation curve, because you have everything that it takes to move this forward, right? So you can actually kind of create industry benchmarks. You have the talent, you have the industry, you have the people. So what more do you need? Yeah, it's just the will to pull it all together. And that, on that note, it brings me to the education side, right? And University of Colombo, I know Professor Suranga and his team have been doing a fantastic job. And I think what will happen moving forward is they will have factored all these elements into reviewing their curriculum to make it way more accessible to a wider audience, and also to foster a spirit of innovation where students, the younger generation who are the future leaders, will actually come up with innovative ideas to solve the current problems that are plaguing this industry. So just on that note, there's a research paper that I co-authored that focuses on Internet of Things and big data converging in hospitality. We researched the environmental impact. We created use cases for how Industry 4.0 solutions can actually help the industry in attaining sustainability. For instance, it's not just about energy conservation, it's also about water conservation and a lot of other things that go into the protection of the environment. Recycling is one of them. Yeah. So with active participation between industry and the academia, I think the Millennium Development Goals are achievable. They seem difficult, but they are achievable. And I'm sure together we can ensure that our industry still remains not just high tech, but also high touch. On that note, I end my presentation and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Professor. There's one question to ask. The entire globe is now talking about Generation 5. The countries like South Korea and, of course, Thailand, Singapore, they are moving on to this Generation 5. How our industry's preparedness for Generation 5? Are we still talking about the speed, the data, or are we innovative enough to go for the Generation 5?
I think we still have to leverage Industry 4.0 before thinking of Generation 5, because what happens is we still haven't actually maximized on the benefits that Industry 4.0 gives us. So there's no point in leapfrogging yet, because these are still evolving technologies. Yeah, I mean, the pace of evolution is so quick that it's very difficult to sort of keep abreast. But here you have the low-hanging fruit where technologies are available at scale and also from an affordability perspective. So why not go ahead and deploy them to solve immediate problems? And at the same time, keep track of what's happening on Industry 5.0, which is now emerging thanks to the 5G. They're already talking about 6G standards. Yeah, but moving forward, let's use what we already have to solve the problems and then take the next leap.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for your comments. I will move on to the next the speaker. She will be talking about why inclusive tourism and skills, because with skills we can do so many things. I'd like to invite our next speaker. She is Sharanya Ravikumar. She's the Senior Manager in Planning and Inclusion and Results at Skills for Growth. Skills for Inclusive Growth program in Sri Lanka. Sharanya has 15 years of experience in development programs covering government, also United Nations and INGO, and development in different aspects, especially on gender speciality, disability, and inclusive economic development. Sharanya, are you with me? Sharanya, shall we start your presentation, Sharanya? Sharanya? Sharanya?
Hello, can you
Yes.
hear me?
Can hear, Sharanya. Shall we play your video clip now, or you want to do it within your discussion?
I think we can play that video at the end of the session.
Sure.
So allow me to share the screen.
Sure. Yes. Navit, I think you give the opportunity.
Yeah. He's done, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Sure, you are able to share your screen.
Sure.
Forum is yours, Sharon.
Yeah, just give me a second.
No, until she comes, because in hospitality, tourism, and events industry, we always talk about skills, knowledge, and attitude. We call it competency, out of which the skills plays a vital angle. So that's why we selected this topic to talk about during the Tourism Day celebration, because Sri Lanka is a country which has so much of potential in people. Their smile, their skills, and their ability. So how do we enhance this in the industry? Over to you, Sharanya. So you have a lot of case studies in Sri Lanka. Yeah.
Yes, of course, Kasun. Thank you so much. And am I audible to everyone? And can everyone see my screen?
Yes, it is possible. Yeah.
Okay. So greetings to all of you. I'm really pleased and humbled to be here with all of you today to talk about some of my experience on the future of inclusive tourism, and with skills, how we can make them a reality. So the UNWTO has designed World Tourism Day 2021 as a day to focus on tourism for inclusive growth. And this is an excellent opportunity to look beyond tourism statistics and acknowledge that behind every number there is a person and this supports the inclusive tourism growth. So the content of my presentation today is about how we understand tourism visitor economy, which is very vital for the inclusive growth for the tourism and the hospitality industry, and how the tourism value chain supports the skills framework of a country, and how the 4 pillars of recovery for tourism skills can support Sri Lanka to build back better in the post-COVID pandemic situation. And also, I'm delighted to share some of the innovative skills models that our program has been testing and modeling in some of the regions. And we are happy to share those case studies for scaling up by the tourism stakeholders and academies in this forum. So lastly, I will also talk a little bit about what are the systemic change actions that as practitioners we can take to get ourselves forward for the future of tourism. So what is the tourism visitor economy looks like? So the visitor economy is always linked with tourism. It's a much broader concept. And it's always about what the visitor is willing to pay for, or what the visitor is willing to spend in a tourism destination. So this also allows visitors to engage in different activities, the culture, to enjoy the benefits, the tourism assets of a country, but it will also complement the industry sector as well. So that's where we need to understand how the tourism value chain works so that we can still fit in what types of skills are needed in order to respond to the visitor economy. So in this post-pandemic situation, putting people first is one of the key priorities, specifically identifying the disadvantages and the vulnerable people, the business owners, the government, the associations, and mainly the visitors to understand and adapt their changing needs. And of course, we were talking about innovations and adaptability, and Generation 5 and all these technological innovations, how it can support to strive thinking differently in order to change for a global and local situation. And ultimately, we strive to be sustainable, ensure that all our actions support sustainable tourism, to celebrate community conservations and respect all the cultures and diversity of this amazing country. So I just wanted to share with you the tourism value chains of the UNWTO, and you can see the potential of different sectors coming together to provide local economic development growth. And the next slide shows how the skills framework and the components of the successful skills framework and employment strategy can complement the tourism value chain. So this is the tricky part and the challenging part as practitioners and development program policy designers face, where we bring in the supply side of the industry as well as the demand side of the industry together to identify the skills gaps, shortages, and how we can match the industry needs to the skills so that we have a potential growing economy that also contributes for tourism development in our country. So based on our experience, we propose 4 pillars that might induce or provide an enabling environment for the future of inclusive tourism. So particularly we focus on jobs and inclusive employment that offers opportunity for everyone, and focusing on business development, especially the small and medium enterprise sector, which comprises 80% of the tourism sector, which provides services to the visitor economy. And of course, the institutional arrangements, governance, and resilience, it's very much important in order to achieve inclusive economic growth. And with the pandemic situation, promoting destinations and developing destinations with the required skills has also become paramount important to us. So in this juncture, the Skills for Inclusive Growth program supports trainings, sustainable job creations in the hospitality and tourism industry, bringing businesses growth with the Sri Lankan Ministry of Skills, supported by the Australian Aid Fund. And the skills models that this program provides supports the government's vision, Decade of Skills Development 2030, and how we can support a resilient and build back better. So just to share some of the case studies, but at the same time, these are evolving models. And we have tested and piloted some of these models and continue to do so with our key tourism stakeholders for the rest of the 4 years of the project period. And one of the key models that I can mention here is about skills for business coaching to improve the performance of the tourism industry. So this is a vital model that we see there is important skills development approach to manage, develop the businesses, because the businesses are the heart and soul of a tourism industry. And this model provides innovative tools and change stories and change agendas for better performing tourism entities. And another model that we have piloted and tested is about the foundational hospitality skills that is required to address the skills gaps and shortages in the tourism and hospitality sector, and how the industry has to be relevant, quality assured, how the training programs and courses can be flexibly delivered for the industry in a demand driven sector. And this can also provide workplace trainings for entrants, which is one of the obstacles that faced by many youth, women and persons with disabilities, where they are unable to access training centers because of their caregiving opportunities or safety and security or economic constraints. So these foundational hospitality skills delivery mechanisms can provide accessibility for youths to engage in more tourism related jobs and employments, and also upskill themselves to retain in the industry when there is shocks and disasters and pandemic situation, where the industry can hold on to their skill set rather than losing them. Along with the model on foundational skills, we also talk about the professional cookery skills, where the regional youth who does not have greater advantages of being in the cities to get acquainted with high-end hotels and high-end tourism value chains. So we have tested and piloted a model to recruit youths who are disadvantaged by geography, location, language, ethnicity, or religion. So this is a model that can be inclusive and adaptive to all Sri Lankan and can be adapted. And we have many case stories and more information to share with whoever interested about these potential models. Another model that we want to discuss here with this eminent forum is about the professional cookery skills that links with the private and public partnerships. When we talk about travel and visits and tourism, we cannot escape from food and the culinary experience that we have while traveling. So you and I experience the privilege of having diverse luxury of accessing different types of cultural cuisines while we are traveling. So this is another potential area where there are skill gaps, but there are demands for quality professional cooks in the industry, which can provide job opportunities. And we would also like to promote the career paths for tourism and hospitality, making the vocational training adequately flexible to especially support women who are poorly educated, who has family responsibilities. So the career guidance program has to be designed with reference to the opportunities and the career paths available in the tourism and hospitality industry. And we invite the donors and industry partners to network with our program to build the capacity of employment to promote these sectors. So last not least, we would like to discuss a little bit about the skills for destination development, which can unlock the potential for tourism, especially for the regional employment, because tourism is also considered and recognized as a key intervention in reducing unemployment and poverty and inequality in our country. So skills for promoting destination development can offer opportunities while coordinated with key stakeholders at the district level to create services and experiences that support the industry efforts so that the visitors can spend money, which stimulates the local economic inclusive growth, where the last mile of the end user of the tourism value chain gets more benefits from this reviving and thriving industry. So so this is why it is very important that we work with the government planners and tourism ministry agencies to stimulate skills development across the tourism value chain. Since this is also a research conference, I would like to share some of the eminent researches that our program has conducted in particularly 4 of the districts in the interest of identifying cultural oriented arts and regional authentic products. So these kind of researches can be replicated in other regions, which can provide inputs for visitor experience for the upcoming period. And these are some of the case studies and testimonials of all the programs that we have conducted in the regions, innovative initiatives, innovative skills interventions, which are inclusive in a post-pandemic situation where we involved the young youths who are unemployed, but at the same time who has a passion to enter into the tourism industry. So what are the systemic change actions that as practitioners that we can take? Because there is a lot happening at the ground at the moment, but there are a lot need to be done. So let us look at what are the systemic change actions that we can take is to definitely improve the cooperation and coordination with the industry and the government and the skills providers. And this has been a long-standing discussions, and all stakeholders, I think, would agree with me how we can make this eminent. And innovative engagement of women and persons with disabilities to secure benefits of the tourism sector, to provide them employment and new business opportunities. And of course, the industry has to attract more youth by providing validated training modules and flexible learning system through online to increase the business performances and employment outcomes to attract more enrollment. Transforming community practices and resources into unique and authentic tourism experience, which is very vital at the moment for local tourists and international tourists who are looking for local experiences with the safety protocols. And Sri Lanka has to offer many variety of community practices and transforming this into resources. And intelligent matching with the travel and tour operators globally, and the policies to support tour companies and DMCs to get involved to provide this skills match. And of course, resilience and recovery support systems by providing e-tourism's registration of business planning, human resources management for tourism to function better, and of course, safety and evacuation protocols. So the Tourism for Inclusive Growth now provides an opportunity to be, innovative and use our existing knowledge, what is existing in the tourism industry, to use for policy decisions making, and how the different segments of the tourism industry can come together to synergize and provide the skills necessary to the thriving tourism industry. So with skills, we can achieve better jobs, better businesses, and better future for our country. And through the inclusive tourism, we can achieve at the end of the day. We are all aware that the potential in tourism is to impact the social and economic development, but we also need to focus more resources and effort to equip and empower the structures and people, training them with the right skills, creating equal opportunities, being mindful of inclusivity, so that tourism can truly be for everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And I think now would be a good time to showcase one of our case studies in the form of the video. Can I have that, AV, please?
Yeah. Mr. Navid, can you help us on that?
Sure, Mr. Basan. Hold on a sec.
The video, I think Mr. Kemid is working on it, is it?
Yeah.
Sharanya, until they get ready the video, I need to ask you a question because this came from the audience. I wanted to put it through to you. Now, they are asking about when the technology transformation happen in the industry, what will happen for the opportunities, job opportunities in the future industry through the skills and everything. Will you be able to comment on that?
Yes, certainly, Kazum. Now, when the technology involves, there'll be more opportunities, I believe, especially for the particular segments who have not been able to enter into the tourism industry. For example, in our programs during the pandemic situation, we witnessed more women and more persons with disabilities have been able to access some of the tourism related job opportunities, like for example, providing and creating contents for tourism. And they don't need to travel, they can work from home, they can develop their own content around their destinations from their home, about their culture, about their food that their grandma prepares. So these are some of the destination development skills that will require technological advancement, but at the same time, which can be contribute to the whole tourism industry. So this is all about inclusive tourism. And I definitely believe there is space and scope. Even if the technology takes over, the human element will always remain, because tourism is an experience. So the human element will definitely prevail. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharanya. The video is ready, I think. Yeah.
One day I want to be a chef.
එකතු වෙලා රට දැය ගොඩ නගමු
රසනහර පිනා යන දේ සරි කරමු
සූප වේද රහස ලොවටම කියමු
ආගන්තුක සත්කාරට හැඩ ගැහිමු
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This forum, we learned about two buzzwords. I want you all to take home this, the big data from Professor Nadkarni's speech and visit economy from Sharanya's speech. Please take these words and try to develop Sri Lanka tourism. We'll restart Sri Lanka tourism in a better perspective. Over to you, Mr. Madhushan.
Thank you, Mr. Kasun. It was a real good session that I kept my ears on. We learned a lot of things, actually, the global best practices, as you have mentioned. Thank you very much, Mr. Kasun. Finally, it's my pleasure of Tourism Economics and Hospitality Management and the Director of Hospitality Management, Mr. Kasun Megahavatha, and the Social Secretary to the Alumni Association of Tourism Economics and Hospitality Management and the Director Corporate Social Responsibility, Special Projects, Mr. Suranga Tennakon, to deliver the vote of thanks. Gentlemen?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. It is such an honor for me to get this opportunity to thank you all individuals who decorate the 7th International Tourism Leaders Summit 2021. On behalf of Tourism Study Program and University of Colombo, I extend sincere gratitude to all participants in this gathering. I would like to express my appreciation to all respected delegates of this valuable knowledge contributing platform for their presence and contribution made this event a great success. Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Robert Jukham, the resident representative for United Nations Development Program, Sri Lanka. I extend my gratitude for taking out time from your busy schedule to grace the event. Thank you for sharing this straightness us with your knowledge on tourism for inclusive growth on this very important day of World Tourism. Thank you very much, sir. Respected guest of honor, Vice Chancellor of University of Colombo, Senior Professor Chandrika and Wijayaratna. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And first of all, we would like to show our humble respect to Senior Professor Chandrika and Wijayaratna for believing and supporting us for past years continuously. You always enlighten us by advising us how important knowledge is to ourselves. Thank you very much again, ma'am. So then Professor Sanjay Nadkarni, Director of Innovation and Research, Emirates Academy of Hospitality Management. As you mentioned in your dialogue, sir, the distance is not a challenge anymore, but we remember how you graced our events physically in past years with your full of excitement. I believe that you will be always a good partner for the Sri Lankan community as well. Thank you very much, Professor. So then Ms. Sharanya Ravikumar, Senior Manager, Planning and Result for the Skills for Inclusive Growth. Your expertise in skill for inclusive growth is immatchable. Today was an eye-opener for us, and the contribution that you given is a very, very valuable one for everyone, ma'am. Thank you very much for your contribution as well. So then, so I would like to mention a chairman of International Tourism Leaders Summit and the International Tourism Research Conference, and the founding coordinator of the Tourism Study Programs, University of Colombo, Professor Suranga Silva, our beloved guru and our motivator. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for everything. So then we are really grateful for the head of Department of Economics, University of Colombo, and the Dean of Faculty of Arts for providing the guidance to this massive knowledge contribution platform. Thank you very much for everything. So then Mr. Upali Ratnayaka, Mr. Bandula Sumit, Professor Mubarak, Kaldeen, Mr. Sampath Sirivardhana, Ms. Pratibani Bandusena, Dr. Rohan Tatukorla, and Mr. Kasun Nabenayaka. Your consultancy and everything is very important for us, and thank you very much for everything. So then finally, I would like to extend my gratitude to Major General Nimal Krishnarathna and the officials for those Alumni Association of Tourism Economics and Hospitality Management for being the backbone of the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Kasun. Behalf of the University of Colombo, we would like to thank the chairman of Sri Lanka Tourism, Mrs. Kimali Fernando, and Mr. Sri Hettiarachi, the secretary to Ministry of Tourism, for recognizing the Tourism Leaders Summit among all other tourism knowledge contribution institute. The tourism and hospitality industry organization, including all national and regional association, has been supported us throughout the last 7 years, and they deserve very big thanks to you. And I must thanks to the official media partner, Event TV, for supporting this event broadcasting to the world throughout mass media. We have never forgotten our past sponsors, suppliers, and stakeholders who showed us. We would like to thank you their contribution. I must thanks to Mr. Asita and Mr. Dev from the University of Colombo, who helped us to work in hard for past few days to make this event successful. Ladies and gentlemen, an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels started rolling week ago. It requires planning and a bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backbone by our team, very motivated, dedicated colleagues who know their job well. I would like to take this opportunity to place on record their hearty thanks to the directors, vice presidents, specialists, and students, leaders in diploma in travel and tourism and hotel management, and postgraduate in diploma in economic hotel and the master programs. They are perfect logistic support, and support has been extended to all of us in this function. Please accept my apology for having forgotten to thank you during speech. I cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement and their willingness to take on the completion of the task. Professor, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I want to state that we are all most grateful to you all. We thank you being with us today. It has been great pleasure. Stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Megawat and Thenakon. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to conclude our annual Tourism Leaders Summit for 2020, which the theme was the tourism for inclusive growth, the way forward. So I wish everyone a safe environment to the days and months to come. So please take care of yourself and always look for developing the tourism industry along with the Colombo University and the 7th International Tourism Leaders Summit. Thank you very much.